National Territorial Defence Inspectorate commenced the demolition of a building near Petronini High School today, though they were met with strong resistance from residents who begged and pleaded with authorities not to destroy their homes. Speaking at a meeting of the Integration Council, Acting Minister for Foreign Affairs and Europe, Gent Sarkai, said that Albania expects a positive decision regarding negotiations in June. Democratic Party Chair Lulsin Basha issued an open call from Korça today, inviting all citizens to join the March 16 protest and create a change by which the government fears the citizens, not the other way round. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Monday the 11th of March 2019. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. The National Territorial Defence Inspectorate, or NTDI, attempted to commence action today to demolish a building near the Petronini High School. However, were faced with the residents begging and pleading for their homes not to be destroyed. The decision for the demolition of the building has turned into a conflict between the residents and the police. Clashes escalated as residents cried for their houses not to be demolished, while police officers escorted some of them to the station for further questioning. They have undertaken extreme actions, such as laying down on the street in order to prevent the passage of the NTDI's demolition vehicles. Local media have reported that based on a court decision, the current residents are not the legal owners of the land, and as such, the NTDI has required approvals and permissions in order to demolish the building. However, residents claim that the ownership documents for the property have been acquired through abuse of power and that they have evidence that they are the rightful owners of the land and have been for the past 75 years. With documents in hand, the residents explain that they rightfully purchased the physical building from the landowner as they awaited the land rights to be finalised by the state. They claim that the paperwork for the building was issued accurately to them, whilst the land rights, which should remain in the state, have been passed back to the former owner through a series of court forgeries. Another interesting point to note is that all the judges whose signatures are present on the approval for demolition of the building are yet to have passed through the vetting process successfully. The residents have inscribed the names of the signatory judges in large letters on the wall of the building, which reads Husni Demirai, Zecine Solaku, Elona Stavri. As promised last Friday, medical staff from across the country have protested in front of the emergency room of Tirana's hospital today to express their dissatisfaction over a recent spate of violent attacks on healthcare workers. Just last week, a dermatologist of the Hospital of Leja suffered facial fractures under the hand of an alcohol-affected patient. Medical staff of the country's hospitals continue to raise the alarm over violent attacks by patients and family members, declaring that they no longer feel safe to perform their duties in their workplaces. As such, they demand 24-hour non-stop police protection in emergency rooms. In addition to the security and safety concerns, another problem raised by specialist doctors is the lack of payment during the 4-year specialisation period. Doctors have warned of another protest to take place tomorrow at 9 a.m, where all doctors are urged to raise their voice against the violence that has been exerted on them in the hospital environment, a phenomenon which seems to be on the rise in recent times. The Minister of Health, Ogerta Manustiliou, supported the protest held by doctors against violence exercised towards them and declared that all those who commit such acts will face imprisonment. Manustiliou went on to comment about the decision by the First Instance Court not to apply strict security measures to the perpetrator of violence against a doctor of the infectious disease ward as a complete embarrassment. It has been determined that the decision relating to Marcida Jafarlari, a candidate for the post of High Inspector of Justice and for one of the vacant seats in the Constitutional Court, does not fall within the scope of the IQC. According to the Independent Qualification Commission, Jafarlari has lost the status of magistrate because she did not undergo the magistrate's test. Previously, Jafarlari has worked as Chief Inspector of the Ministry of Justice and the High Council of Justice. According to the report read during the hearing of the Independent Qualification Commission, there was no evidence of issues with wealth criteria or relating to reputation. However, the international monitoring operation have raised some issues regarding the criteria of professionalism. The rapporteur of the case stressed that during the hearing held on March 4th, it was uncertain whether she had the status of magistrate while receiving the status of a public official. Due to these uncertainties, Jaffer Lari was declared by the Independent Qualification Commission as being outside the scope of their responsibilities. Meanwhile, today the Independent Qualification Commission also announced their decision for the Tropoia Court Judge, Dritan Setsi. His dismissal came as a result of concerns relating to his wealth declarations, particularly regarding property criteria. According to the Independent Qualification Commission, the judge did not declare an apartment in the Leprak area nor a vehicle garaged there. During the vetting process, Setsi was also found to have problems relating to his professional reputation. It was determined that during his time in the post as a judge in Tropoia's court, he conducted proceedings without appropriately notifying the involved parties. Acting Minister for Europe and Foreign Affairs reported on the process of meeting the criteria for negotiations while calling on political factors to cooperate for the moment. In the Integration Council, Sarkai said that an intensive dialogue with the EU countries is already required, as well as internal dialogue. But the Deputy Chair of the Integration Council, Talon Bala, said that despite the withdrawal of mandates and the lack of opposition, the work of the majority for integration will not stop. The Integration Council, after months of rest, held the first meeting for 2019 and was also reported on the progress of justice reform as one of the basic criteria. The Democratic Party chair, Lulzim Basha, stopped by today a meeting with Croatia's citizens to invite them to join the massive protest to be held on March 16. The leader of the opposition spoke of a national pact that should shake the government in fear of the citizens. Inviting all those present to join the opposition protest on the 16th of March, Basha said they should decide for their own lives. On Saturday at 11 o'clock, I invite you to appear en masse to show your determination as part of the national protest of 16 March. It is sure that the end of this government is near. I promise you that this battle will end not only with Rama's removal, but with the collapse of this government that deals with crime and the oligarchy. I invite you to become part of a consultation on a national pact in which Albania has a government that fears its citizens and not the citizens that fear the government. You have to decide for yourself, your children, your city and your health, said Lulzim Basha. Basha emphasised that such goals as reducing the price of oil, reducing energy prices and delivering on a tax of just 0.5% for businesses cannot become a reality without first removing what he calls a government captured by theft and commanded by crime. The Central Election Commission has issued mandates to 5 new MPs derived from both the Democratic Party and the Socialist Movement for Integration, bringing the number of opposition MPs present in the Parliament to 12. The process by which replacement MPs are determined has caused some debate between members of the majority and the chair of the CEC, Clement Zuguri, especially in the case of the candidate to take the place of DP chair, Lulzim Basha. Following the approval of the proposal with 4 votes in favour, the chair of the CEC, Clement Zuguri, confirmed that the mandate formerly held by Lulzim Basha in Tirana will be passed down to Malinda Halilaj. Lefter Malici accepted the mandate formerly held by Astrid Velia in Berat. In Leja, Victor Tusha was replaced by the SMI MP Elda Hoti. Edlira Husseini in Durrës will take over from the mandate of Nora Malaj, while in Gjirokasta, the mandate of SMI MP Vangel Tavo passes on to Ediola Braho. The number of MPs in Parliament is expected to increase to 93, with Alban Zanelli of the DP in Kukës having submitted his decriminalisation form to the Central Election Commission. In relation to the local elections, which will occur on the 30th of June 2019, so far 4 parties have registered their participation with the Central Election Commission. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.